June 14th, 1919. Ashford, Kent, England. The morning mist clings to the hedgerows like a secret. Dew gathers on the bonnet of a parked silver hatchback, its engine cold, its windows fogged from the inside. A magpie lands on the roof, pecking curiously at a stray ribbon tangled in the aerial. The street is silent, too silent for a Friday. Then the first scream. It cuts through the air like a blade, sharp, human, terrified. A woman's voice, somewhere just beyond the lane. Curtains twitch. The dog starts barking 2 gardens over. The magpie flutters away. Music! Low drone begins by the time the first neighbor steps outside. The quiet suburb is already holding its breath. The silver hatchback sits halfway up the drive, its rear door ajar. On the gravel beside it, single trainer lies on its side. Pale blue, streaked with dirt. There's no movement. Just the hum of the nearby motorway, faint and distant. Cut to B-roll, establishing shot of sleepy cul-de-sac under overcast sky moments later. A phone rings inside one of the houses, then another. The chain reaction of panic begins, an unseen current running from home to home. No one knows what's happened, only that something isn't right. A young man in a hoodie jogs up the road, drawn by the sound. He slows as he sees the open car. He calls out, uncertain. No answer. He takes a step closer, peers inside, and stumbles backward. Hand over mouth. Sir? Distant police siren. Rising within minutes, the narrow lane fills with flashing blue. Police tape unfurls between fence posts, its plastic edges whipping in the breeze. Officers move quickly, voices low but urgent. A crime scene in the heart of suburbia. Unexpected, unnerving, unreal. Unreal. Neighbors cluster at their gates, clutching dressing gowns, whispering names. Someone says they saw a shadow earlier, just before dawn. Someone else swears they heard an engine idling for too long. But the details are scattered, half-remembered, uncertain. A detective kneels beside the car door, eyes narrowing. The camera lingers on the expression, recognition, disbelief, maybe both. He says something quietly to the uniformed constable beside him. His face changes. Inside the car, in the passenger seat, something glints beneath a folded jacket. Metal catching morning light. The detective reaches forward, hesitates, then nods for the photographer to document it first. Flash. For an instant, the scene freezes in that white burst, the stillness of shock, the weight of something unspeakable. By now, the sound of the siren fades, replaced by the soft murmur of onlookers. A mother pulls her child back inside. Somewhere kettle boils. Life continues, but quieter now, hesitant. Music swells slightly, then fades under narration. It's only later, hours later, that word begins to spread beyond the cul-de-sac about the car. About the name found on the papers inside. About the connection no one expected. You gotta expect that. But here, in this small corner of Kent on this gray June morning, one question hangs heavier than the mist. Her name is Clara Jennings. 32 years old. He taught. The classroom in Ashford is bright and chaotic in all the right ways. Paper stars, handprints, and messy spelling tests pinned in uneven rows. Every child knows Miss Jennings' rule, be curious, be kind. Childhood photo montage, Clara at age 8, clutching a paintbrush, grinning through missing teeth. She lives alone in a small terraced house near the park, a 5-minute walk from the school gates. Neighbors say she jogs most mornings, rain or shine. She shops local, volunteers at the community library twice a month. There's a soft rhythm to her life. Tea at 7, marking papers at 9, lights out by 11. Simple, predictable, safe. Beneath that routine, Clara is ambitious. She'd been saving for a year-long teaching placement abroad, New Zealand, if all went well. She spoke about it often, always with the same spark in her eyes. It's time to see what else is out there, she told her sister, Hannah, over coffee the week before. Interview clip, sister reminiscing if she wasn't running away. She just wanted more. A bigger classroom, maybe? A new chapter. Clara's parents still live up north, in Durham. Retired. Then there's Jamie Patel, 29, fellow teacher, same school. The two had been close for years, colleagues who often stayed late together planning lesson themes. Some say they were more than friends, others deny it. Contradiction school staff described their relationship as a close but professional. Yet one parent recalls seeing them leave the pub together late one Friday, laughing like old lovers, cut to B-roll. Empty classroom chairs stacked, sunlight spilling through dusty windows. Jamie is known as quiet, reliable, a bit of a perfectionist. Lives in a flat across town near the station. He drives a dark green Peugeot, same model Clara had, though newer. His social media pages show travel photos, school charity events, and the occasional post about mental health in education. Ryan works as an electrician, often traveling for contract jobs. Friends say he didn't take the breakup well. Others claim he'd accepted it, even wished her the best. Contradiction depending on who's telling the story. He was either heartbroken or relieved. He and Clara shared a dog, Milo, a golden retriever she kept after they split. Neighbors still remember the awkward handovers. Ryan arriving to take Milo for a weekend walk. Clara waiting by the door, smiling politely. Interview clip. Civil, maybe a bit tense now and then, but who isn't after a breakup? In the weeks before her death, Clara had also been in contact with Detective Sergeant Emma Ward, though not professionally. They'd met during a community safety talk at the school where Ward spoke about online scams. Afterward, Clara reportedly confided something small, but personal. What it was, no one knows. Ward has never publicly elaborated. Unconfirmed Emma Ward is 41, composed, meticulous. 15 years on the force, 6 of them serious crimes. Known among colleagues for a quiet tenacity, never the loudest in the room, but often the one who closes the case. Cut to interview, setup. Detective Ward, voice low, deliberate. Clara struck me as someone who noticed things. The kind of person who doesn't ignore a red flag, even a small one. And then there's Daniel Mercer, the man next door. 52? Retired delivery driver, lived beside Clara for a decade. Keeps to himself mostly, though he's known for mowing her lawn when she was too busy to do it. Friendly, maybe too familiar. A creature of habit. Morning cigarette. Same bench in the park. Same newspaper tucked under his arm. He was one of the first to hear the scream that morning. Faint wind, leaves rustling, tension rising slowly through these people. Family, friends, neighbors. Clara's life begins to take shape again. A collage of kindness, routine, and the everyday mess of being human. She isn't just a victim, she's a person who loved books, sang off key in her car, and had plans too big for a quiet town. Music softens reflective tone, but as investigators begin piecing together her final hours, the threads start to pull tighter. Conflicting stories. Calls. A strange message sent the night before. Each familiar face now carries a shadow. Each gesture, a question. And as the morning of June 14 unravels, it becomes clear. Someone in Clara's circle knows far more than they've said. Music fades to low pulse. Tension building, the calm of Ashford is about to fracture. The air is damp, heavy with the scent of rain-soaked pavement and petrol. It's just past 7:15 a.m. when the first emergency call comes in. 911 audio, distant, trembling voice of theirs. There's someone in the car. She's not moving. Please hurry. The operator keeps the caller calm, but their voice cracks on the last word. Within minutes, sirens echo down the narrow lane. Rising, falling, closing in. A small cul-de-sac of lavender close, usually still at this hour, becomes a hive of flashing light. Polly 2 is in uniform. He's hit by the stillness scene. 24, barely 2 years in uniform. He steps out of the patrol car and is hit by the patrol car and is hit by the stillness, the kind that feels wrong deliberate. The silver hatchback is where the caller said it would be, angled awkwardly halfway onto the drive, passenger door wide open like a mouth mid-breath. He calls out once. No reply. The air smells faintly metallic. Inside the car, condensation clouds the inside of the windows. His torch beam catches the edge of a handbag on the passenger seat. A smartphone rests on the console, screen cracked, faintly glowing. He notes the time, 7:19. Red flag, the keys are still in the ignition, but the engine is off. A second officer arrives, Sergeant Tom Weller, older, steady. He approaches carefully, scanning the ground. On the gravel near the front tire. The trainer. One shoe, clean on one side, streaked on the other. Positioned too neatly as though it had been set down rather than dropped. They move closer. Through the open passenger door, a figure is visible, head bowed slightly, motionless. The air inside is still. No sound except the steady hum of the nearby motorway, far away but constant. Linton radios it in, possible fatality. Female, requesting ambulance instead. Music! Low, suspenseful underscore the paramedics arrive first. Two of them, faces calm but quick. They check vitals, confirm what the officers already sense. The air grows heavier still. One of the medics steps back, gives a small nod, the others avert their eyes. Weller starts the initial sweep. No signs of forced entry. No clear struggle. At least not yet. He notes faint scuff marks along the driver's side door and what appears to be a smudge on the interior handle. Unconfirmed, it could be residue. It could be more. Cut to B-roll. Police tape stretching across the quiet cul-de-sac. Blue lights flashing in early daylight. Neighbors begin to gather, drawn by the siren. Someone's recording on a phone. Another is quietly crying. A woman in slippers tells an officer she heard a thud around 6:30 but thought it was the bin men. Another swears she saw a car drive off moments before the scream, but can't recall the call. Contradiction witness reports differ on when exactly the scream was heard. Some say dawn, others closer to 7. Detective Sergeant Emma Ward arrives at 7:46. She ducks under the tape, clipboard in hand, expression unreadable. She takes one look at the vehicle and stops short. The victim, Clara Jennings, is still in the passenger seat, slumped slightly sideways, seatbelt half twisted. Her hands rest in her lap. There's no visible sign of external trauma, but posture tells its own story. Peaceful but not natural. Music fades to silence for several beats. Ward instructs the forensics team to photograph everything before a single item is moved. She watches, noting the smallest details, the cracked phone, the position of the seatbelt, the faint imprint on the driver's seat, suggesting someone else may have been there recently. Red flag, she spots a takeaway coffee cup on the dashboard. The lid is intact, the steam long gone. The date scribbled on the label matches that morning. Someone bought this not long before she died, Ward murmurs. Her tone is neutral, but her eyes are already scanning the surrounding houses. Cut to B-roll. Slow pan over discarded coffee cup, then out of focus neighbors watching behind the tape. All was he? By 8:30, the coroner's van pulls up. The quiet professionalism of the scene takes over. Photos, notes, careful movement. The kind of silence that carries both reverence and dread. One officer finds a folded jacket in the back seat. Inside the pocket, and another phone. Not Clara's. The flag gets locked, but its wallpaper shows the beach at Dungeness. Ward orders it bagged immediately. Linton steps aside, his face pale. The smell of damp fabric, faint perfume, and coffee linger in the air. Morning has turned brighter now, sunlight glancing off the windscreen, but the warmth doesn't reach anyone standing there. Cefax. Distant seagull, brief wind gust. Ward makes her initial notes. Vehicle stationary, ignition off. Victim seat and passenger seat restrained. No forced entry. Personal items present. Unknown secondary phone recovered. The coroner gives the quiet signal to proceed. Clara's body is carefully removed, covered, lifted with precision. The camera catches the reflection of blue lights in the car window as she's taken away. Music, soft, mournful tone begins the lane empty slowly. Residents are ushered inside. Officers take statements. Every step documented. Yet beneath the order, something feels off. Too tidy, too composed. Ward stands by the car, frowning slightly. It doesn't feel like panic, she says quietly to Weller. Whoever was here took their time. Red flag, the car's driver's side seat is adjusted too far back for Clara's height. She looks once more toward the rows of neat brick houses, each with drawn curtains and quiet gardens. Somewhere among them, someone must have seen more. Someone always does. As the tape flutters and the forensic team packs up, the camera lingers on the empty drive, the faint outline of tire marks leading toward the main road. The discovery is over. The questions are just beginning. The investigation begins within hours of the discovery. Detective Sergeant Emma Ward takes command, coordinating with the Kent Major Crime Unit. The clock starts ticking at 9 to 12 a.m. when the silver hatchback is towed to the forensic bay at headquarters. Cut to B-roll. Evidence bags being sealed. Officers logging items. Each piece of evidence is cataloged. Clara's phone, the unidentified second phone, her handbag, and the takeaway cup. Forensic analysts begin surface swabs immediately. The air in the lab hums with quiet urgency. Keyboard typing, faint hum of fluorescent lights by 10:45 a.m. They confirm the second phone is registered to Ryan Cole, her ex-boyfriend. But he insists he hasn't seen Claire in days. We'd spoken on Wednesday, he tells investigators. Just read my memo. That's it. His call logs match the statement. Last contact 8:12 p.m. 2 nights earlier. Possible motive lingering resentment after their breakup. Unresolved whether the phone was left accidentally or deliberately. Meanwhile, Claire's own phone yields the first digital clues. Between 6:01 and 6:01 a.m. on the morning of her death, 3 messages were sent to Jamie Patel. None opened, all read. We need to talk. Urgent. Red flag, the timestamps place Clara awake and active well before the scream was heard. Ward orders CCTV retrieval from nearby streets. By midday, analysts are combing through hours of footage, delivery vans, dog walkers, the rhythm of a normal morning. Then, a fragment catches attention. Reveal, surveillance footage at 6:23 a.m. A dark car, possibly green, drives slowly past Claire's street. It pauses near her house, brake lights flickering, then reverses slightly out of view. Investigators pause the clip. A shape in the driver's... The frame too grainy to confirm, but the car model matches Jamie Patel's Peugeot. Unconfirmed Ward contacts Jamie. He comes willingly for questioning, composed but pale. He admits he was driving then. I was on my way to work. Early coffee run, but insists he didn't stop at Claire's. His alibi, a cafe receipt time-stamped 6:37 a.m. in the next town. The receipt checks out. Still, the timing feels tight. Red herring for days, public speculation fixates on him. Calling the secret. When CCTV enhancement confirms the car in the footage has a missing rear wiper, Jamie's does not. The lead collapses. Ward pivots. Forensics returns preliminary results. No forced entry, no physical struggle, no trace of sedatives or alcohol in Clara's system. But red flag low oxygen saturation detected in early postmortem samples. Unconfirmed possible asphyxia? The autopsy the next morning rules out natural causes. Clara's death is classified officially as suspicious. Low tension underscore builds. Meanwhile, the unidentified coffee cup proves significant. Latent prints recovered, not just Clara's, but a partial match to another known database entry. Daniel Mercer, the neighbor. He's cooperative when approached. The guy grabbed her bins the night before, he explains. Maybe touched the car then. The partial fingerprint comes from the lid's inner rim, where someone would drink. Ford re-interviews him. He's steady but vague on times. Claims he woke around 6:45. Heard nothing unusual. Yet phone records later show a call from his landline to Clara's mobile at 6:32 a.m. lasting 14 seconds. He insists it was a pocket dial. Red flag cut to B-roll. Police at Mercer's doorway. Soft focus. Early morning light. Still, without direct evidence of foul play, Mercer can't be held. Investigators continue building timelines. June 15th, 24 hours later, forensics team completes vehicle sweep. Fibers collected from the driver's seat don't match Clara's clothing. Metallic residue is detected on the seatbelt buckle. One analyst notes it resembles the coating used on electrical tools. Possible link Ryan Cole's profession. Ward visits Ryan's flat. He allows a search. His toolkit is inspected, none missing but a roll of industrial tape. Same brand found in Clara's boot. Is logged, reliably evil torn it out. However, further lab comparison reveals the adhesive compound differs slightly. Manufacturing batch mismatch. The suspicion fades. Another dead end. Music softens. Momentary low public pressure begins to mount. Social media swarms with rumors, local headlines asking teachers secret. An ex-boyfriend question again. Ward holds her composure, avoiding comment. Behind the scenes, analysts revisit Clara's digital footprint. They discover a deleted voice memo on her phone, time-stamped June 1310, 42 p.m. It's only 5 seconds long, faint, ambient noise. Then Clara's voice, tense, it's happening again. Reveal, audio waveform visualization, no context, no follow-up. Unresolved, the forensics lab finally decodes Clara's smartwatch data. Her last recorded heartbeat spikes at 6:28 a.m., then stops abruptly at 6:30. The timing aligns exactly with Mercer's phone call. Red Flag Ward re-examines the secondary phone, Ryan's. A digital forensics specialist finds traces of a deleted photo. The recovery shows a blurry interior of a car, silver upholstery. Metadata, June 14th, 5:58 a.m., geolocation, less than 500 meters from Clara's house. Ryan insists the phone was stolen from his van. That unconfirmed for days, the case twists through contradictions. Leads flare, fade, resurface. Jamie cleared. Ryan doubted, then exonerated. Mercer, hopeful, then suspicious again. Press calls it Ashford May. Then a break. Music rises. Percussive pulse, a lab technician reviewing the metallic residue sample cross-checks an overlooked database of consumer hardware coatings. The match isn't to tools, but to key rings. Specifically, a brand of novelty lanyards sold only at a petrol station 2 miles away. CCTV from that station, 5:54 a.m., shows Clara buying coffee and beside her, someone placing keys on the counter. Ward freezes the frame, enlarges. The reflection in the station's glass door shows a familiar face. Daniel Mercer. Reveal. Still image for East Frame, the timestamp places him with Clara less than 40 minutes before the scream. He never mentioned seeing her that morning. Ward exhales slowly. We've been looking at the house, she murmured. Answer's been parked right next. Faint hum building under voiceover, her team regroups, tracing his movements, rechecking witness statements, reconstructing timelines minute by minute. And as the evidence converges, one realization cuts through the noise. What happened to Clara Jennings wasn't random. It begins quietly. No chase, no spectacle. It's the soft creak of a garden gate and the rustle of early morning air. June 21, 2019, 6:42 a.m. Detective Sergeant Emma Ward stands at the end of Lavender Close as the arrest team moves in. The house next door to Clara Jennings sits dark, curtains still drawn. Music, low pulse, measured rhythm, and knock. Knocking. Muffled voices inside. Daniel Mercer answers, half-dressed, surprised but not startled. When Ward steps forward, badge raised, his expression barely shifts. Simply exhales, a long, weary sound. I suppose it's about Clara, he says. He doesn't resist. Cut to B-roll. Police escorting Mercer to an unmarked car, morning light flaring behind blue tape. Back at headquarters, Mercer speaks little. For nearly 2 hours, he sits in the interview room. When he finally begins, his story drifts between confusion and justification. He claims Clara came to him that morning, upset. He argued. She got into her car to leave, and then something went wrong. Unconfirmed, he insists it was an accident. She fainted. He panicked. Yet his version fails against the forensic record. The pressure marks on the seatbelt, the timestamp data from her smartwatch, the partial fingerprint on the coffee lid, each fragment falls into place. Reveal, evidence montage, seatbelt buckle close-up, smartwatch display, fingerprint scan. By late afternoon, Mercer is charged with manslaughter. Weeks later, as investigators piece together his statements and the new toxicology analysis, that charge escalates to murder. The Crown alleges premeditation, citing the deleted messages from Clara's phone and surveillance footage, placing him at the petrol station earlier that morning. February 2020, Maidstone Crown Court. Courtroom footage, slow pan of jurors, solemn expressions. Trial opens to a packed gallery. Clara's family sits front row, her mother gripping a tissue, her father staring straight ahead. Mercer's sister attends too, trembling as she avoids their gaze. Prosecution lays out a clear timeline. Mercer and Clara had an ongoing dispute about property lines and a shared bed. In the weeks before her death, Clara confided to friends that Mercer had become unsettling, often appearing uninvited. Possible motive anger over rejection, fear of being cut off. Ward testifies calmly, explaining the pattern of control and proximity. The defense counters with the argument of confusion that Mercer acted in panic, not malice. They emphasize his cooperation, his age, his lack of prior record. Cut to B-roll, courtroom sketches, prosecutor, and dressing jury. Then the decisive moment, the forensic video. An enhanced CCTV clip from the petrol station shows Mercer reaching into Clara's passenger window as she sits inside. It's quick, almost imperceptible, but clear enough.